Hello all, welcome to another quick learning. Today we're going back to the Codecademy exercises on Python. So we've already completed Python syntax, strings and console output, date and time, and now we're moving on to conditionals and control flow. So if you missed part 1 and you want to start at the beginning, I'm going to put a link down in the description so you can go there. Otherwise, let's get started. Alright, go with the flow. Just like in real life, sometimes we'd like our code to be able to make decisions. The Python programs we've written so far have been one-trick minds. You can add two numbers or print something, but they don't have the ability to pick one of these outcomes over the other. Control flow gives us this ability to choose outcomes based on what else is happening in the program. Alright, so check out the code in the editor. You'll see the type of program you'll be able to write once you've mastered control flow. Click run to see what happens. So here we got a bunch of print statements, and then there's a raw input field, so looking for the user's input. And then there's an if statement, depending on what they put in. If it's right, if it's left, then it'll say this. If the answer is right, it'll put this, else it prints this statement here. So let's just put in R for right. Next, compare closely. Let's start with the simplest aspect of control flow, comparators. There are 6. So there's equal to, see there's 2 equal signs right next to each other. So 2 equal to 2 is true, 2 equal to 5 is false. There's the not equal to, so that's the exclamation pointer, also called bang operator, next to an equal. And that will be just the opposite of the equals. So 2 does not equal 5, which is true, and 2 does not equal 2 is false. The less than works as you would expect. Less than or equal to, again, works as you would expect. Greater than, works as you would expect. Greater than or equal, etc. Comparators check if a value is or is not equal to, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to another value. Note that equal compares whether two things are equal, and one equal sign assigns a value to a variable. Alright. Set each variable to true or false depending on whether you think the result will be. For example, 1 less than 2 will be true because 1 is less than 2. Alright, so set Boolean 1 equal to the result of 17 is less than 328. I think that's true. Set Boolean 2 equal to the result of 100 equals 2 times 50. That's probably true. Set Boolean 3 equal to the result of 19 less than or equal to 19. That should be true because it's equal. Set Boolean 4 equal to the result of negative 22 greater than or equal to negative 18. So that's number 4, that's false. Set Boolean 5 equal to the result of 99 not equal to 99.1. That's false. Let's run that. And we got that all correct, even though the answers were already put in there for us. Compare closely. Excellent. Looks like you're comfortable with basic expressions and comparators. What about extreme expressions and comparators? Let's run through the comparators again with more complex expressions. Set each variable to true or false depending on whether you think the result will be. So set Boolean 1 to the result of 20 minus 10 is greater than 15. That's false because 20 minus 10 is 10, which is greater than 15. Set Boolean 2 to the result of 10 plus 17 is equal to 3 times 16. That's false. 3 times 16 is 48, and 10 plus 17 is 27. Set Boolean 3 to the result of 1 to the second power. That's what these mean. This is 3 to the second power, sorry, not 3 times 16. It's less than or equal to -1. That's false. 1 to the second power is just 1. Set Boolean 4 to the result of 4 times 4, which is 160, is greater than or equal to -4. That's true. Set Boolean 5 to the result of 100 not equal to 10 to the power 2, which is false. So we have that finished. All right, how the tables have churned. Comparison results in either true or false. Which Booleans we learned before in this exercise? Make me true. So this is, so you'd have to change this to greater than if you, or sorry, make me true. This is true right now. Let's switch it up. We'll give the Boolean and you'll write the expression just like the examples above. For each Boolean value in the editor, write an expression that evaluates to that value. Remember, comparators are equals, not equal, greater than or equal, less than, and less than or equal. So here they've already done this one for us. Boolean 2, don't just use true and false, that's cheating. So Boolean 2 will do, we want this to be false, 5 not equal to 5. True, we want 10 is equal to 10. Make me false, so I'll do 10 is equal to the string 10. Make me true, we'll do 10 squared is less than 10. To run that, double check your expression for Boolean 5. Oh, they want it true, sorry. Let's just change this to greater than. Next, to be and or not to be. Boolean operators compare statements and results in Boolean values. There are 3 Boolean operators: and, which checks if both the statements are true, or, which checks if at least one of the statements is true, not, which gives the opposite of this statement. We'll go through the operators one by one. All right, check out the truth tables to the right. They show the results of and, or, and not. Boolean operators given the Boolean inputs A and B. Click next to continue. So and, both of them have to be true in order for it to be true. So if there's any false in any of the values, it'll be false. Or just one of the values has to be true. So you can see this is true because both of them are true. This is true because this one's true. This is true because this one's true. And this one's false because they're both false. Not just flips it from true to false or false to true. Boolean operator and returns true when the expressions on both sides of and are true. For instance, 1 less than 2 and 2 less than 3 is true. 1 less than 2 and 2 greater than 3 is false. That's because this is false. And only one of them has to be false for an and to be false. Let's practice with and. Assign each variable to the appropriate Boolean. All right, set Boolean equal to the result of false and false. Set equal to the result of false and false. So it's going to be false. Set Boolean 2 equal to the result of. So let's see what this is going to be. So this is -2 turns to +2 to -2 to +2. So this is going to be false. because it goes negative, positive, negative, positive. There's a, yeah. And this is going to be actually true, because this is 16 to the 1/2 power, which is the square root of 16, which is 4. And then 3. So let's do this. So this is the modulus operator, so this is going to be 19. This is going to be 10, 300 divided by 10 is 30, divided by 10 is 3. And since this is false, it's going to be false anyways. So this is equal to 3, this is equal to 3 as well, because there'll be 3 remainder after this. So this, okay, so we got 1 to the 1 squared, so that's -1, which is less than 2, to the 0, which I believe is 1. I think anything to the 0 power is 1. And so this is true. And 10 modulus 10 is 0, which is 20 minus, so this is done first because of order operations, so this is 20, so it's 20 minus 20, which is 0, so this is true, so this whole statement is true. And set Boolean 5 to this. If it's true and true, it's going to be true. Or, Boolean operator OR returns true when at least one expression on either side of OR is true. For example, blah, blah, blah. Set Boolean 1 equal to the result of, so 2 to the 3rd is 8. And 108, the remainder after divided by 100 is 8. Or Cleese equals King Arthur. So this is false. But this is true, so this would be true. Set Boolean 2 equal to the result of true and false, which is true because at least one of them is true. Set Boolean 3 equal to the result of, so 100, square root of 100 is 10. That's not greater than 50, so this is going to be false. Set Boolean 4 equal to the result of true or true, which is true. And Boolean 5, we've got 1 to the 100th power, which is just 1. 100th to the 1 power is 100, so this is false. Or 3 times 2 times 1 is 6, and then this is also 6, so this is false. And this is false, so this is false. And we got them all right. All right, not. The not Boolean operator not returns true for false statements and false for true statements. So not false will evaluate to true, while not 41 greater than will return to false because this is true. No, not changes it to false. All right, so not true is false. Not 3 to the 4th power and 4 to the 3rd power. So 4 to the 3rd, let's pull up a calculator here. So we got 3 to the 3rd is 27 times 3, I think it's 81. Yep. And then 16 times 4 is 4 to the 3rd. 16 times 4, well, either way. Negative 64, right? So this is greater than this, which makes this false, but when you put a not in front of it, that makes it true. All right. So evaluate this, 10 modulus 3. That's going to be it's going to be 1, and this is going to be 0. So this is not less than this. So this is false, but it turns it to true for the not. And then this, so we got, this is 9 plus 16 is 25. And this is true because 5 squared is 25. So this whole thing is false actually, because this is 25 and this is 25, but then it turns it to true by putting the not in front of it. Not false. So the first not turns it to true, second not turns it back to false. Let's see if we got those right. And we did. This and that, or this but not that. Boolean operators aren't just evaluated from left to right, just like arithmetic operators. There's an order of operations for Boolean operators. Not is evaluated first, and is evaluated next, or is evaluated last. For example, true or not false and false returns true. So the not is evaluated first, so this turns to true, and you have true or true and false. Oh, so this is evaluated first, sorry. This is true, and then you go true and false, which is false, but then you go true or false, and you got true. Parentheses ensure your expressions are evaluated in order you want. Anything in parentheses is evaluated as its own unit. Assign true or false as appropriate for Boolean 1 through Boolean 5. Okay. So again, this is false, and then we do the and. So false and true is false. False or false is false. Okay? So first we do not true, which is false. Then we do false and false, which is false. False or true is false, is true, sorry. All right, so now we do what's in the parentheses first, no matter what. False or false is false. And then we do not. So not false is true, and true is true. All right. Okay, so we do the nots first. So let's do this first. Not true is true. Not true is false. So we got true here, we got false here, and then we would do false and false, which is false. So this part is false. We said this part is true, so true or false is true. All right, so we're going to do in parentheses first, true and true is true, and then not true is false. So we've got false or false, which is false. Ooh, got them all right. I'm a little surprised by that. All right, great work. You're almost done with Boolean operators. This time we give you the expected result, and you'll use some combination of Boolean operators to achieve that result. Remember, the Boolean operators are and, or, and not. Use each one at least once. Okay. Make me false. We did this one for you, okay? So if you see this is true, and alpha equals Bravo is false, so that's false, because you got a true and false. Make me true. So we've got to use each one at least once. True. Okay. So we're going to do 10 equals 10. So this is false. Or So let's do not this. Okay, not that. That's false, so that would be true. Or 5 less than 10 and 3 equal to 3. So you would evaluate this first, and then that would be true because this is false, and then the not makes it true, and then you would do this. This is true and this is true, so it's true or true. Oh. This is actually kind of annoying. Let's just do false and false or true. Or let's do false or false. And not false. So this would be true. Then this would be false, and then false or false is false. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do not false or false and false. So this would be done first. That would be given true, and then you do this, which is false, and then true or false is true. And then let's do false or true and not false. So this would be true, true and true is true, false or true is true. There we go. Conditional syntax. If a conditional statement that executes some specified code after checking if its expression is true. Here's an example of if statement syntax. If 8 is less than 9, print 8 is less than 9. In this example, 8 is less than 9 is checked. It's the checked expression, and print 8 is less than 9 is the specified code. Pay attention to the indentation before the print statement. This space called white space is how Python knows we are entering a new block of code. Python, so you see the indentation here. Python accepts many different kinds of indentation to indicate blocks. In this lesson we use 4 spaces, but elsewhere you might encounter 2-space indentation or tabs, which Python will see as different from spaces. If indentation from one line to the next is different and there's no command like if that indicates an incoming block, then Python will raise an indentation error. These errors could mean, for example, that one line has 2 spaces, but the next one has 3. Python tries to indicate where this error happened by printing the line of code it couldn't parse and using a caret, that's called a caret operator, to point to where the indentation was different from what it expected. If you think the print statement will print to the console, set response equal to y, otherwise set response equal to n. So answer equals left. If answer equals left, print, this is the verbal abuse room, you heap of parrot droppings. So will it print that? I think yes. And I was correct. If you're having. Let's get some practice with if statements. Remember the syntax looks like this. So if some function, parentheses, colon, indented, block line 1, 2, etc. Looking at the example above, the event that some function returns true, then the intended block of code after it will be executed. In the event that it returns false, then the intended block will be skipped. Also make sure you notice colons at the end of the if statement. They've added them for you but they're important. In the editor, you'll see two functions. Don't worry about anything unfamiliar. We'll explain soon enough. Replace the underline on line 2 with an expression that returns true. Replace the underline on line 6 with an expression that returns true. If successful, then both success 1. I'm just going to put true. And here I'm going to put true. Yay! It executed the return statements here. So you can see these are defined functions that have the if statements, and then we just print using those defined functions. So it's what we call calling the function. So it's calling this function, it's going to it, and it's executing it. It's saying if true, which it is, return this. And then on the second line, it's doing the next using control again statement and doing the same thing. Else problems. I feel bad for you, son. The else statement complements the if statement. An if-else pair says if this expression is true, run this indented code block, otherwise run this code after the else statement. Unlike if, else doesn't depend on an expression, for example. So here we've got if 8 greater than 9, so this is false, so it will not run this. It'll run the else statement, whatever's here. After that, it'll run the indented block code there after else. All right, so complete the else statement to the right. Note the indentation for each line. So black night, answer, 'tis but a scratch. So return. So it says make sure this returns. Make sure this returns. False, okay. It's just on a different line here. Okay, so make sure this returns false. So return false. And then the else statement here, make sure this returns false. All right. So we have the answer here of 'tis but a scratch. So how would this work? If you call the function black knight, the answer is equal to this, so it will return true. If you call the French soldier, the answer is not equal to this, so it will return false. It will run the else code block. I got 99 problems, but a switch ain't one. Elif is short for else if. It means exactly what it sounds like. Otherwise, if the following expression is true, do this. So here we've got the same thing. If 8 greater than 9, this is false. So it's not going to print, it's not going to do this. It's going to skip to the next else if statement, or else if there are no else ifs. And then it says elif 8 is less than 9. This is true. So it prints this and it exits the if block. Example above, the elif statement is only checked if the original if statement is false. On line 2, fill in the if statement to check if answer is greater than 5. So we're going to do this. If answer is greater than 5, return 1. On line 4, fill in the elif so that the function outputs -1 if answer is less than 5. Answer is less than 5. So for anything greater than 5, it's going to return 1. For anything less than 5, it's going to return -1. And I guess else will only be triggered if the answer is 5 exactly. And then you can see, so this is the argument that goes into this function, and then you can see it's calling greater than less equal 5 with the parameter 4. So that's going to return this block of code. So it's -1. And then this one is going to return the else. because it's false for both of these, so it's going to return 0. And this one's going to run the code, and it's going to return 1. The big if. Really great work. Here's what we've learned in this unit. So comparators, less than, greater than, equal, etc. Boolean operators, conditional statements. Let's get to the grand finale. In the workspace to your right, there is the outline of a function called grade converter. So we do define grade converter, and then we put the colon there. We have a parameter that we put in, and that's the code block. The purpose of this function is to take a number grade 1 through 100 defined by the variable grade and to return the appropriate letter grade, A, B, C, D, or F. Okay, your task is to complete the function by creating appropriate if and else statements that will compare the input grade with a number and then return a letter grade. Your function should return the following letter grades. 90 or higher should be an A, so let's put that up here. So grade greater than or equal to 90, and then next section we'll put grade greater than or equal to 80, and then we'll do, I'm just going to copy this bit, and then we're going to do 70, and then we're going to do 65, and then everything else is an F. So how it's going to do, if this is true, it's going to return A, and then it's going to finish running the function. Once you hit a return statement, any defined function will stop running. So, yeah. And so, it's going to go, so first it's going to look at 92. It's going to say this is true, so it's going to return A. So it's going to print A first. And then it's going to look for 70, so 70. This is going to be false. This is going to be false, and then this elif will be true, so it will return C. And 61, so it's going to go false, 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 and then it's going to just do else, return F. So it's going to be A, C, and F. And then we've finished. All right. So we've gotten through, this was part 4. Hope you guys will join me for the next few parts. Thank you very much.